Today on Worship Leader Wednesday, we're going to talk about why you should record and evaluate everything you do in your church. So Fuller hired me at my church.
It's a great decision.
At our church.
It's a great decision.
About 5 years ago.
Has it been that long?
I think so.
Wow,
I think it's about
time
5
goes
years
by
ago.
fast.
I know, it's crazy. And one of the first things I realized when I got there that I was like, wow, is we record literally everything.
We do record a lot of stuff.
Like auditions, sometimes rehearsals.
Yeah.
Every single worship service that we ever do gets filmed internally, not to put out on the internet, not that kind of thing, but we recorded everything. And then I realized that I was being evaluated on like everything.
Somebody's watching you.
So Fuller, tell me,
always watching you.
Why is this a good idea? Why do we do it? Why should you do it?
We don't have good self-perspective on what we're doing sometimes. And the truth is, when you're on stage, you don't know what it really looks like or feels like.
Yeah.
So it's just a really honest and brutal, I must say, very unforgiving way of just being able to go back and watch what you did, kind of watch how things went down, and grow and learn. It's only to make things better.
Yeah.
And the best way to do that is to get an unbiased perspective of what you're doing, whether it's you, whether it's your team, or whatever. And videos don't lie.
Okay, so it's important to record ourselves, evaluate. We're going to see things. What would you recommend that an average church should record? Like, what events should they be recording?
Yeah,
in your opinion,
I think you start with Sunday.
Yeah,
that's like the biggest thing, or whatever day you have your worship service on, because you can see the whole team. I mean, if you're the worship leader, you're on stage, you're not really seeing everything.
No.
You're focused on the congregation, you're focused on all the things you're supposed to be focused on, and you should be.
Yeah.
But it's nice to be able to go back and revisit. You can look for how transitions went. You can look for maybe what you said in between songs, because when you said it, it felt great.
Yeah.
But then you go back and watch it, and you're like, that didn't make sense.
And
I said and 7 times.
Yes.
Yeah. And so there's always, I just said So there's all these little nuances that you can see at your leisure and learn from. And I tell you, when you watch yourself, you really are like super critical.
Yeah.
And it's very helpful.
So Sunday mornings, we also record auditions, which I think is if you hold auditions
if you do auditions, it's good to record them. Because for one, sometimes you can't just make a decision on the fly. You got to go back and watch it. It's like sports. When a great play happens, you go back and watch it in slow-mo and see what really went down. But you can watch these evaluations later in case you're like, what was about this person that wasn't quite where we needed it to be, or maybe they were amazing and you just want to watch it again. But more importantly, if that person doesn't make your team,
which is a great video for another. Another video.
Well,
auditions. Wants to be on the
that's
team,
a couple videos right there.
But here's what we can
But
do.
if you record an audition and it's a vocalist and they're singing flat, you can actually send them the video. Hey, thanks for your time. You'll notice around this part of the song you went really flat on these words, on these notes. And then again, now they're able to watch themselves and evaluate themselves and make themselves better.
And hopefully you can help come alongside that person.
Absolutely.
And help them improve.
Yeah, it's a tool to help people.
Here's the part where you may be saying, that's great, but I can't spend money. The reality is you really don't have to. So there's going to be a link below this video, or it might pop up here or here, somewhere in this video, where we have an equipment list. And it sort of breaks it down from like spending probably no money because you probably have the stuff already to, if you want to go a little higher end, or maybe even eventually roll it into like, if you're going to record to put it on YouTube or something like that later. An equipment list of what you can use to record your services. The first thing you can do is, if you have somebody who has a phone or a laptop,
the easiest thing.
Anything with a camera.
Anyone in your audience, your spouse, your friends, your kids.
Yeah.
I've had my son record rehearsals for me. My 8-year-old son, Noah, will just sit there and record. Yeah. And then I'll go back and watch it.
Put it up in the back of the room and just turn it on and let it go. You don't need to worry too much about audio fidelity. You just want to hear it. You just want to be able to hear
what's happening and seeing
set it up so that you're not just totally blasting the input so that it's all clipped or anything. But you just want to see it and hear it. It's just for internal use. So you can use a laptop. You can use a webcam. So this is what we had at a lot of our campuses before. It's a Logitech webcam again, and it's like $99 again.
If you want to go to that next level.
Yeah, there's a Sony sort of a recorder that we use at a lot of our campuses as well. Widescreen is usually, a wide angle of view is good, so you can see everything.
You want to see the whole band, and you want to see the congregation as well.
Yeah.
Because you want to be able to go back and see if they were engaging and
how
see,
are they responding?
what their body language was. I tell you, that's one of the things that I think I learned from the most. Because you get to see how people are responding and worshiping.
Yeah. So I want to finish with a couple things. One, when you see yourself, don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah. Grace abounds.
Yeah. because like we said earlier, just straight up recordings of the room are extremely unforgiving.
It's a tool. It's a tool simply to evaluate certain things. You're not judging yourself as a person or how accomplished you are as a musician.
But here's a story about the first time I ever saw myself in a worship leading context. I was in college. This was many years ago. And I traveled around with this band called Crosswise. Yeah, that's good. It was sweet.
Sounds like a Nike shoe.
That's Crosswise, doesn't it? Anyway, so we traveled around to different churches and youth conferences and camps and stuff, and led worship or put on special music for churches. And one of these, toward the end of this, it was during the summer, got filmed, and we all watched it. And I watched myself. I'd never seen myself before.
First time ever?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the first thing I realized was, first of all, I should say this. I loved that experience was awesome. I loved every minute of it. And but if you looked at me in that video, you would have thought the opposite, because I looked like I was sucking all of the energy in the room out of the room with my face. Like I just looked like I was in pain almost. I looked. My stage presence was not.
You had no idea.
It was anti.
You had no idea.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And stage presence is important. Another video for another day. But that's the one thing I noticed coming out of that. I'm sure I had thoughts about my performance, but I thought to myself, if I'm going to keep doing this, I have got to look like I'm having fun, at least.
Yeah.
So it was a really eye-opening experience in that regard.
It's a great tool for your vocalists, so that they know, because there are times when we'll be doing a worship song and we'll have a video of one of our background singers and they'll just be staring off into space. All they got to do is see that one time and they'll be like, I'm never doing that again.
Or glued to the confidence monitor.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. That's popular. You see worship leaders
down here.
Yeah, and the worship leaders just basically reading the lyrics.
It looks weird.
It looks terrible. Yeah. And until you see that yourself, you don't really get the full impact.
So hit that link below to download the free equipment list, and we'll put some other tips in there, kind of what you should look for, that kind of thing. Thanks for hanging out with us at Worship Leader Wednesday. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss another one. See ya.